Varus, and you can take Pantheon, which we've seen Jwei succeed on this champion prior. So
Yep.
I think that's a decent enough ask. Now for IG, alongside the Pantheon, what else are we going to see from them? I do think this is more than likely going to be a Jhin for Photic coming down the line versus this Varus. Actually, could be Sivir.
Do IG just slam their jungle mid, or do they go for bot lane? They're taking their time.
Mid lane's starting to get
figuring
pinched.
This out.
I think you want to give counter. We're going Mbessa. This is a flex technically, but we haven't seen Soboro play the Mbessa. It has almost exclusively been given over to Jwei. So for the time being, we're going to operate as if that is the case still.
Curious. Well, if it's an Mbessa flex, then they'll keep their cards hidden so that they can give Rookie a little bit more time, like you said, to hopefully explore a better counter pick option. Sivir, decent answer as you called out into the Varus, but now Tarzan starts eyeing that Pantheon for himself and seeing what he can do with his hands on it and try and just really give the Pandas a huge snowball in the first few minutes of the game.
I think Pantheon is really tricky. It's a similar kind of case when you're playing into Sivir as I would say the Poppy, where that spell shield is going to give you a lot of trouble. So you're going to need something else to engage. Rel is up and we don't have Alistar anymore. That could be something that they could look for if they're really kind of interested in that. We still also have Nautilus, but Nautilus I'm a little less enthusiastic about. I think I'd rather just have something that's going to give us a lot of clear lockdown. Rakan does give Kael some flexibility in how he wants to play, and he lets him be an engaged buddy alongside Tarzan. So I do like this alongside it. I just need to now see what our top side is going to be, because I do think IG, the Sivir answers it in some ways, and this Mbessa, who we're expecting to go into the jungle, is going to give them some snap to get into the back line, and Nautilus does help with that.
Yep, point and click. Ulti guarantees that one target is going to get knocked up. And like you called out with the Rakan, the flexibility for Kael to either choose if he wants to go forward with Tarzan or lean back and be a deterrent for any, say, Mbessa ulti with the public execution, so you can buy space and time for Hope or Shanks to reposition from a dive attempt. But mid laners have yet to be locked in here, so I imagine that is going to be the first role attempted on the pinch, but it also could be top lane. And like we mentioned before, Rek'Sai was one of the champions that they banned exclusively away from Flandre. This does push them into K'Sante territory.
Also, for staying with the flex, Mbessa really sucks into Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai runs over that champion. Again, I'm looking at K'Sante, but I wasn't really impressed with the last K'Sante we got from Flandre here in the season, and I just wonder what he's going to move towards. If you're going to play into more melees, I still actually really like a Sejuani top lane. I think you're cooking here. Yorick is also decent. Gwen is interesting. Kind of just says we're picking K'Sante in my mind. And you know he's not playing Jax as Flandre. So
Nocturne banned. IG, because they are first pick off of this rotation, if they pick a mid laner, they can keep the Mbessa flex hidden. This Mundo would pretty much
counter pick.
Okay, well, what do you want to do, Jwei? Do you want to keep the Mbessa? Do you want to blind pick top lane?
Please pick please just pick the Mundo if we're gonna take jungle here. Or blinding top lane. Okay, K'Sante is good. There's not very many answers. Again, I do think Sejuani was one of Flandre's better answers into this champ. He could play the Yorick. I think it's okay for trapping the Sivir later on in fights and even being a nuisance for a Nautilus later on. It just means that side lane's going to be really, really important. Do not pick Galio into K'Sante. Please, Flandre, don't do this to me. Because now, I feel like we have zero reach onto the opponents. We're just doing blind Galio. Okay, alright. What do we pick in mid now? Because our damage is Poke Varus and Pantheon.
I mean, you don't suspect that this is a Galio mid, do you?
I mean, but why would I? Oh my god.
Does Flandre have a Zahen now?
That's huge.
Oh my god.
Okay. All right. This is a big gambit. We have not seen Flandre on this champion this season. Also, Flandre on champions that are not tanks has been punished a lot. Rookie with the Swain, getting it from Hongq. He did play Swain a little bit earlier last year, so I'll give him credit there. But this is an excellent Swain angle, and I think IG might have the edge going into this game number 3.
Dude. Hongq and Rookie sharing very based champion pools, both the Anivia and now the Swain. Okay. Well, when it comes to the extended team fight, this was something that the Zahen angle for anyone's legend should have been favored in, but now you have to run through a Swain, and anytime you have Swain with a Sivir giving you movement speed on top of it,
yeah,
anyone's legend have to immediately just bolt from the fight and let the Demonic Ascension time out, because if you try to fist fight your way through a Swain and you are either on curve or behind the curve, you just don't win. You do not have enough burst to get through it.
And we haven't touched too much on these players for a large portion of the series, but especially in this game, Hope has to be the carry for this team. I see very little ways of answering a Swain, a Sivir. You have the most broken AD carry on this patch, just got buffed as well in 26-2. You need to carry on this one. You have one of the best champions in the game in competitive. And you're going to have the poke, you're going to have the range. Everything is behind you in this game to win this, and it comes down to this game.
Here we go, y'all. Anyone's Legend versus IG for Game 3. Last game of the series, last times of the night. Here we go.
See, if the tech was that they were waiting for the casters, I'm glad the casters over on the Chinese feed decided, let's just get those Gyos out now. So we don't have to deal with it later, and there's no early level 1 shenanigans going through. Photic's already chunked. I'm going to assume that was an arrow, considering Hope is also missing some mana here. I like this cheeky level 1 play. You have a better level 1 here.
Oh, good sidestep from Photic. Dodges the second piercing arrow from Hope there. Jwei maintains bush control right now. Does he just look for a dredge line? Wow, they can't step up.
Yeah, this is what happens when you're playing as Rakan. Your laning phase isn't as strong. You're playing into the Nautilus. Both junglers are pathing down here. You got a single minion from that, a -1 again. Hope has 1 CS after the second wave has already crashed here. And it might even be worse than that. -1 again. Okay, we're keeping count here. 1 more melee minion. Does he get this one? Okay. No, go back. I want to keep -1ing.
Not gonna happen. And now Jwei and Photic are starting to just set up a big wave crash here as they start to aggressively try and push through this. Cannons have arrived. Dredge line does not find its mark. There's a brief window where Kael and Hope can try and step up until the dredge line comes back off cooldown, but it's still so difficult.
Yep, it's right now, please just try to farm up some of the minions. This is why you just can't blind Galio like this. Like, I know Anivia is gone, but even in the worst matchups, this is going to be really, really tough. So that's kind of the story here for Shanks. He's going to be in a losing matchup, kind of, I don't want to say self-counterpicked himself, but really left himself very vulnerable here in this series. I think that's dangerous because the times where you have seen IG the worst is when Rookie is a non-factor. So giving him time to scale in a game, giving him time to have a good matchup just from the lane alone is very, very problematic.
Yeah, I mean, the past 2 games now, IG have been able to secure quite niche champions because not many mid laners other than Hongq have really leaned on the Anivia, let alone now a Swain. And so this is just setting up IG to have some is insanely different win conditions than what you expect from other class of champions, because Swain is just one of the few where you just pop his ult in a team fight, and you are just kind of de facto winning the fight if you're even on items.
Demon Flare is pretty disgusting, and the fact that every 7 seconds, if you're still in combat with champions, you get another proc of it is really, really good. So now Mbessa's going to come out. There's no scuttle for him to take, and all the Phallites are going to give him a ton of vision here. Oh, Flandre, no. Q3 doesn't land from
He tries to
Soboro.
flash early. Soboro just Q flash. Okay, Flandre sidesteps it. Nicely done from Flandre. Survives and gets out what could have been a deadly gank that would have ruined his game.
Good trades coming in from Shanks. Got a little bit of alone time to equalize this matchup after he took his first recall and has the Dark Seal. Can we teleport from both of our mid laners? But I'm still worried here, Raafaa. Every 5 minutes that goes by, that's a good sign for IG. I think that you have a Sivir that's going to hit 3 and 4 items. You already have an advantage from how they played the level 1 here for Photic and Jwei. So I think we're showing a lot of really, really good stuff. And that is, I think, the wherewithal to play these lanes correctly was something I was going to be a little bit worried for IG, considering what their track record so far in the season has been, and some of the not so clean wins that they have had. I'll just put it that way.
It's been tough, but when IG do perform, it's quite entertaining. It's quite awesome. Now Jwei is in a world of trouble, forced to flash away as Tarzan was in the area. He does not have Hex Flash in this choice of runes, so no ways to continue making plays until that flash is back off cooldown.
Yeah, IG have never 2-0'd a series in 2026, at least when they're winning.
Yeah.
It's a pretty tough look. Dragon can be started, but you already see that mid laners both have level 6, and it is easier for AL to move first, because Swain can press Demonic Ascension all he wants, but Galio can go to another side of the map.
True.
So, for now, it is just going to be IG trying to move their way into River. You can see that thanks to having the Sivir, they just push the wave. They have control of the Tribe Rush. Maybe going on to Jwei.
Maybe buffer the Q to get out of the grand entrance, but Tarzan still with the stun, and Jwei just extends way too deep for vision control. That's first blood going over to Tarzan.
One of the reasons we saw Nautilus drop out of priority is that we saw Unsealed Spellbook be really popular on supports for basically the entire 2025, and his base stats were so miserable, it wasn't really worth it to play Nautilus. And kind of see it there, without Aftershock, you kind of just got stun locked by the Pantheon and Kael, and then Hope was able to put in, or chip in, a lot of damage there as well. So seeing Wei go for an invade, this would mean that he's a little bit closer. Both of our junglers do have that 1000 damage smite, but we already see that Mbessa, we've known about this champion for a long time in jungle. She does a very, very good clear.
Wei has the smite advantage over Tarzan since he already used it on the Krugs. Yoinks the red away. Rookie actually pops Demonic Ascension against Shanks in lane, just in case Shanks wanted to join the fray with the heroic entrance, and denies him the ability to do so. So just good awareness that Wei wanted to make that invade happen. Dragon is still available, and we got Grubs spawning in a minute's time. I don't think Rookie's going to have access to that ultimate again in time.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't know if Rookie got the choice to not pop the Demonic Ascension. I think that was a moment where if Galio does move, it's bad, and so he uses it to keep him there, but he also took a bad trade. So Shanks is going to come back to lane using Home Guards. He also can respond if IG even bothered to contest for this dragon. It's going to be anyone's legend opening up a small lead by taking the first objective off the map.
For the most part, it's one of the earlier dragons we've seen out of this series, since the other ones were fairly delayed. So it's nice if anyone's legend want to at least force a dragon stacking win condition this game. Grubs are up in 10 seconds. Away is already on the bottom side of the map trying to power farm all of his camps that he has got available. If Tarzan decides to feint towards top while Wei takes a base, there's still a chance that maybe IG can try and contest them there. Demonic Ascension still not quite off cooldown.
You're allowed to cheat being on the minion waves here as Pantheon, because he's gonna finish his wool, or he's gonna finish his wolves. It seems like they're prepping for something on bottom side, considering he is hovering, but with Cassante underneath their turret, I wonder if there is time and space for them to look for something. But instead, they're just going to try to invade on the bottom side. Already all of those camps done. Despite the first kill going over to Tarzan, I'm looking at Jwei. He's 10 away from his jungle camps, or his jungle tree being done. And he still has a scuttle on top side and the 3 grubs up there. This is very easily a play where Jwei could get a big advantage.
Yeah. Definitely senses an opportunity on the bottom side, if not for one to make himself, just trying to make sure that Photic is not in any danger. He was forced to pop the cleanse, but Tarzan, before he finished the recall, did get vision and information that Jwei returned to the bottom side of the map, just to make sure that Photic was not going to go down anytime soon. He still had a flash available, but now Jwei's booking it towards the top side of the map. Neither jungler has finished their first item here.
Does he get it, though? I mean, as Pantheon, again, I'm always going to say this. If you have Grand Starfall, you can always get a recall timer in, because you can just show up across the map. So, I like this a movement coming in from Invictus Gaming. Let's get our support in first, move into the topside river, and we can play, because this Mbessa does a ridiculous amount of damage to objectives. Great job from Soboro as well to maintain priority over Flandre and make sure that they can grab these grubs.
Quick check-in onto the top lane. Grim Deliverance just to clear the minion wave and make sure that Soboro doesn't do anything cheeky to Flandre while he's under the tower. Might buy him a chance to quickly recall and teleport back to the wave. It's a good timer for the top laners since grubs have already been secured and there's not another dragon for another 2 minutes. Photic has to take the safe way around just to make sure that Kael doesn't jump on him and get some extra HP damage down. Still a flash available on the Sivir.
And no spell shield. It's an 18-second cooldown this early on in the game. So, if they were looking for something possible, because the ultimates that are available to AL right now are maintaining a soft gold lead right now. It's a very slow game immediately. We were maybe going to hope to see Flandre do, or Tarzan do a little bit more here. A great ward from Tarzan and AL to spot out Jwei. But he is almost level 9. I'm going to see if they can fish out for where this Mbessa. Where did he? He took a recall. He got his Eclipse. Completely dodged everybody. Very cheeky from the observers.
Definitely looked like we were setting up for a collapse onto the Mbessa, but Jwei now gets the chance to look for his first fight with this Eclipse in inventory. Very strong spike for the Mbessa, and if he can find a good public execution on the target.
Let's invade.
But Tarzan's hunting. He wants to get information on where this Mbessa is. At least just sees that the Gromp was secured, but Soboro might be in trouble. Looks for the W, forces the flash out of Flandre.
They can continue to go for this. They're going to look for a dive underneath the turret. It's a minute before the dragon, and they put all this vision on the top side while still maintaining some wards on the bottom lane jungle here of IG. So I think AL get to do so much with extra information and good gathering happening by both Tarzan and, combination of Shanks and Kael.
It's been a very meticulous game plan from anyone's legend, and one that I can respect a lot. I am concerned about if they are not able to accelerate this game anytime soon, because when I look at every time Swain picks up a spike, how harder it is to kill him, how harder it is to kill Mbessa. Anyone's Legend trying to see if they can secure the second dragon of the game to maintain that drag stacking win condition, but IG are already contesting them in the river.
Thankfully for AL, you are allowed to be a little lackadaisical on the mid-wave. Galio can clear this for now, and while this is happening, it's still ultimate's in. Looking for Rookie, no flash for him.
And they pop the Demonic Ascension, now just bail. Let it time out, and Anyone's Legend can now reset and look for the fight. That Swain ulti is practically wasted. Jwei is forced to flash. Rookie also no flash from the prior engage. Anyone's Legend just methodically burning summoner spells one after another.
They're getting ultimates, and they did lose out on a bottom lane wave there, so I don't know if the dragon's immediately going to be started. I think this is, for now, We'll see Tarzan take the bot lane scuttle, take his bottom side camps. At the very least, he'll take his blue buff, and then look. Shanks also was able to get a recall on, but still no completed first item. What the? Wait, what?
Yeah, so he buffered through the all out. He recognized that was an angle.
Yeah, but why is he
Soboro
there?
wanted to go through. I think. Well, I can't tell you, but that was. It looked funky on the spectator client for sure. Jwei is gonna face check into Kael. Tarzan already started up the dragon. Dredge line buffers through the grand entrance right into Hope. He flashes away from the dredge line and the death charge. Here comes Shanks. Heroic entrance forces the hand of IG to flash away. Now this Ambessa, no public execution, no flash, cannot get into the pit as easily as she would like to. Tarzan is pulling it towards the top, trying to be safe and meticulous about it. Anyone's legend. They still can't commit fully to the dragon.
Okay, look at the timers right now, though. There is the grand entrance, the swiftness coming in, or the quickness, sorry, for Rakan. If that came up while they were taking the dragon, that could have been a way for them to turn this. Not going to be the case. We're going to dance back off of the dragon. That was a huge hook from Jwei. I mean, landing that onto Hope between multiple members, also getting his flash, very pivotal there for Invictus Gaming in making sure that that dragon does not go over. So we're going to have Herald. I think this is probably going to be the objective that's going to be less so contested. Also, haven't seen a Grand Starfall quite yet from Tarzan, so saving this to try to get something on a side lane right now, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of this.
It's been a slow game from AL and maybe a little too slow. Here comes Shanks with the teleport just to take over and relieve Flandre of top lane duty for now. We'll give Flandre an opportunity to just walk over to bot lane instead and see about being able to pick up a minion wave. This Rift Herald looks a bit funky, Alk, I'm not gonna lie.
We did say that this game definitely better for IG, if that's the case. So, time, you know, or this is very close to like the Kassadin, like tick, 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 the clock emojis that tend to get spammed. But they don't have a dragon, and we have Grubs, which is nice. That's definitely going to be a little bit more impactful, but with the lane assignments that AL have gone for, I think the worry that you and I have been kind of simmering on is starting to be brought up to a boiling point. Like, this dragon's still up, and no one's nearby to even contest.
Yeah. I mean, one of the pitfalls about this Poke Varus build, it's oppressive early on in the first couple item spikes, but there's a point where there's going to be enough HP built on this entire top side. Hang on, Dragon, 1400, secured by Tarzan. Now everyone just bail. Jwei tries to lock him down and keep him in range. Rookie looks for the Nether Grasp, pulls one in onto Tarzan. He blocks the damage with the Aegis Assault. Soboro tries to continue the play. Dredge line follows up. Wade dueling with Flandre on the right side, and the Demonic Ascension with the Rylai's continues to slow them all up. Massive knockup from the Death Charge, but everyone from Anyone's Legend manages to get out alive.
If that Galileo ult goes off and then they get the Grim Deliverance, I think AL slam this game immediately. But they grab the dragon against all odds versus Invictus Gaming, and that is an incredibly close fight. Small bits of CC, all of the micro interactions there, barely saving it for IG. Usually Pantheon is a champion that we try not to contest the Smite versus, because his Comet Sphere, when it's empowered plus Smite, is near impossible to break. This is where I was a little worried, but then I remembered Pantheon is OP. You could just press the E button at any time, and you're basically invulnerable. Oh, the Q3 from Soboro there, stopping the heroic entrance, and just barely the never move missing from Rookie. Small things, again, changing the tides of war there, and turning into a nothing burger. No fights, no kills, no deaths.
It's crazy. This is the lowest kill game we've had all day long at 17 minutes and 45 seconds. You can tell that IG are obviously locked in, but Anyone's Legend are being very, very cautious and almost more passive than they normally would be, because they are just making sure that they do not give IG any semblance of an advantage. The Rift Herald gets teased for a little bit, and the rest of IG immediately give ground back over to Anyone's Legend.
I mean, just imagine if you're AL and you just think about the absurdity of the last, like, game and a half, essentially. Like, we gave over Jace, we lost the game. I'm sure players are going to be very reactive and just say, well, we gave over Jace, we deserve to lose, right? And then coming into game 2, it's like, okay, Hope, we got you, Varus. We you know, unfortunately have a bad matchup in mid lane as the game goes on. We have to do something. And so, you know, it's getting a little tense. We're in the middle of the regular season. They don't have anything like a coach comms, at least until playoffs, for us to, you know, maybe help them calm down with Helper or Teacher Ma. But they have strong leadership. I think that was something that we talked a lot about for AL, is that with Tarzan, and especially now with Kael, with the confidence he's found as the best support in the LPL, I am really hoping to get behind this team. It's just, can the carries get there, right? Like, we haven't been super impressed with Flandre on carries or off of tanks. And Hope has been hit or miss in a lot of big moments for this team.
This is a bit worrisome for the Pandas because there have been times where Hope does really pull out unexpected clutch performances, and then you get used to the clutch performances, and then when you need it most, it doesn't show up, and then it ends up even more disappointing. Anyone's Legend, though, has...
Oh, continue. I was going to say, I think of his Jinx, I think of his Kaisa.
I mean, the Kai'Sa's legendary, for sure. Dredge line from Jwei connects onto the first member, immediately bursted. Holy cow, Kael just got dropped. Here comes Rookie with the Demonic Ascension, Flandre over the top, already using the Grim Deliverance.
Oh no,
and
oh
entrance,
no.
Multiple members, damage on the backline, but now Rookie can continue. He's got him slowed with the power of the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, and Hope is trying to do his best on the sidelines with these piercing arrows, but they ain't doing jack squat. Anyone's Legend just has literally no damage, and the rest of IG can brute force their way into the river.
I thought that was great because he landed a Chain to Corruption. He got onto the multiple members, but either the cooldowns weren't there, and he's also just not landing any of these arrows. So IG, they grab 2 kills in this trade. We can watch it back from Hope's perspective. The idea of this fight is still sound, I think, from IG. You have vision control, you're controlling the Fey Lights, and right here, that's immediately Jwei. But we have no stacks of Blight procced onto him. This arrow misses. Like, we have the heroic entrance. I thought Shanks was in a tough spot, so he has to flash immediately. Watch this next arrow from Hope. There is Jwei and Jwei both low, and we put it into the Cassante of Fool with no Blight stacks.
Oh, pitcher and pitcher. Wait a minute. Soboro goes all out, finds Tarzan, but he's going to jump on him with a stun. Photic coming up behind, trying to see if he can bail out Soboro using the Thrill of the Hunt. Or on the hunt, I should say. Anyone's Legend still trying to find ways to get back into this game, but this is so tense. Good buffer by Jwei with the dredge line, gets out of the grand entrance, still hot on the trail. Flandre trying to look for a flank. They might be able to interrupt Jwei on his escape. Kael flashing forward with the quickness, locks up 3. Grim Deliverance over the top, and that's the burst damage they were hoping for. Anyone's Legend eliminate Jwei off the map. This is the 3rd dragon going the way of the Pandas.
And I think the worst part about this is it's right in front of the dragon that will give them soul points here as AL. IG can do nothing but watch this objective. A TP from Rookie. Maybe it's going to be them looking on the outs.
Tarzan should be able to secure the dragon, but can Rookie and Photic turn the tides in this river? Quick flash from Hope, gets over the wall and can fire a piercing arrow and bring down the demonic bird. Photic gets knocked up by the Justice Punch and says sweet night to the ground. Anyone's Legend find 3 more kills, an effectively delayed ace. Baron's on the table. I don't think they can go for it quite yet, but this is a major swing in Anyone's Legend's momentum.
Kael with amazing engagements there, followed up by a Grand Starfall.
Oh,
are we going to find Jwei again?
Jwei gets locked up. He only has HP from the Shojin, flashes in the nick of time, dodging out on the winds of war. I am a big fan of Shanks building more for burst. The Proto Belt now looking for Azonia's Hourglass. This is effectively much more HP than what you expect from a Galio.
So no Q here. Great flank from Rookie. Just applying pressure. Kael again, man. Getting that knock up onto Rookie, stopping him from immediately walking into Hope. Then this time that's being bought with the amount of crowd control landed. I think phase rush on Galio is great and all. The proto belt is to help him get into the backline a little bit faster. Just having that dash means that he can be a little bit more explosive, get right into the front of something like a Sivir or even this Anbessa, who doesn't have a great time of trying to chew through him. Now there's a Zhonya, so survivability throughout the roof here for this Galio. And AL now, this gold lead was so even for most of the game, but that fight right there makes it a 3,000 gold deficit, and now opens up with a soul point here for AL.
And even Helper recognizing how good of a position anyone's legend are with the pop-off in that coach cam we just saw. 3 minutes away from the soul being available for the Pandas to take off the rift. Baron is now alive for the taking, but as we have seen with prior games today, and for a majority of this split, that objective is a little too difficult just to rip off the cuff. I think anyone's legend is going to take their time, try to farm up from some extra power spikes here. Hope has yet to buy tier 2 boots. He's just trying to opt in as much AD and lethality as possible so that he can effectively poke out the backline of IG.
All right, let's see what else we have here. AL are just putting all of the vision in the top side. I don't think they're going to have time to really contest for this top tier 2 or tier 1, but just allowing Shanks to be able to push on this wave also lets Hope potentially lean onto this side of the map because they know Zehen versus Cassante is going to essentially equalize itself out. Taking a look at Flandre, the game has been quite quiet, especially in their lane. They had some close moments, but once you get out of lane on Zehen, if you can get to team fights, you are a beast.
Yep.
And he has a 1,500 gold lead now.
Jwei does have flash. He's already used it,
Kael.
and the rest of anyone's legend trying to get into the fight. Rookie pops Demonic Ascension. They're all slowed inside that corridor. Shanks is forced to go golden with the Zhonya's Hourglass. Looking at Soboro, he tries to hold the front line for now. Shanks gets one last taunt. The face rush not enough, then Soboro wipes him. Now the rest of anyone's legend on the retreat. Ends up being a 1-for-1, but the value of the trade is greater for IG. They maintain their mid laner. Anyone's legend don't.
Teleports used by both top laners as well, so again, going in favor of Invictus. Rookie also gets to catch his bottom lane wave with nobody answering him. Mechanically well played there from IG. I'll give them their flowers where it's due. Good job as a re-engage coming in from Jwei, even if he does lose his life. Now, this makes this next dragon fight a little more interesting because Shanks has no flash. Hope also will have his flash in 30 seconds, so I wonder if there's going to be any attempt from Invictus to try to grab that last summoner spell before we move into this all-important soul fight.
It'll be a nice way to make it a lot easier for Flandre to just burst him out with a well-timed Grim Deliverance. Now, especially, he is level 16, max rank on this ultimate. I'm going to say it once again. Xiaoshu was the first player in this league to really show how devastating this champion can be when played well. And like you said, Flandre has had mostly a quiet game on this champion in the laning phase, but every item spike he gets, and now that he's at max rank ulti, I think he can really make the difference in this upcoming dragon fight.
And what about his opponents here? We've said that time and time again, when IG look good is when Rookie is at the forefront alongside the rest of his team. And, I mean, as a lane counterpart, Soboro has become a liability in some of these games. So I need to see him perform. I want to see IG look competitive. They'll have priority over this mid wave thanks to the Sivir, and completely blanked out the vision, except for the scuttle that was taken by AL.
He sidestepped the dredge line. Aegis Assault already used, blocks a lot of the damage incoming. Flandre tries to step up next. Hope trying to see if he can lay down some poke. Dragon already at 5k. Tarzan has to walk up again. 3k
Kael
HP. Can they get in? Flandre gets vision. They secure the dragon, deny the soul. But
Kael!
Backline. Massive grand entrance and rogue entrance is going to be huge. It just forces Photic away to backspace. Wei still has public execution at the ready. He's trying to peel off the backline. Shanks goes golden. Rookie's holding the front line with the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. He gets bursted by anyone's legend, and now the rest of IG are in full retreat. They can't escape.
Oh, Photic!
The Grand Starfall finds Photic. He stayed way too long, and now it's Wei that could be next. Kael is looping around, ready to cut off the retreat path. But Wei has too much HP for anyone's legend to really take advantage of. Another massive fight for anyone's legend. The only consolation prize for IG is that they do deny the soul.
That was amazing steal, but is it going to be enough to keep them in this game? You have a Sivir who's on 3 items now. It has to be soon. AL find a great fight. I think that flank from Kael was precipitated so well. He's just waiting, biding his time. And while it ends up being Jwei who grabs this, I mean, right onto the carries. Photic and Jwei get the heroic entrance. You get the grand starfall afterwards to follow. And Hope can't do any damage thanks to Rookie. I think that the other lanes here from IG did a really good job of stalling this fight. This is going to be the worst part. This flash from Photic. Oh, 3 feet in front, you still die. Now we got a Baron to dance for.
Oh boy, Anyone's Legend up 6,000 gold. We did see that it was very difficult even for a near 8,000 gold advantage Anyone's Legend to close out the game at the beginning of this series. IG are gonna have to rally and muster everything that they've got to try and bring it back from this position.
All right. I mean, Baron it's easy in some aspects. I think neither mid laner is going to be very impactful, but Varus, if you can get multiple Blight procs, that becomes big. And we talk about experience a lot of times. I'm looking at so many big leads here for AL, especially in the jungle, right? Like Tarzan's almost like already level 16. Shanks has a full level almost down over Rookie.
Acquired.
Yeah, and a big item spike as well here. So IG, I need to see something from this Mbessa, man. Like, aside from some of the early skirmishing, it is not really panned out. It is so difficult to now answer. Teleport's going to be here for Soboro. This is kind of like the last fight that IG are going to have access to.
Watch Kael on the flank. He's spotted by the control ward. The rest of IG just immediately retreat over to the left side. AL tried to pull the Baron and force IG to face check them. Doesn't give them the angle they were looking for, but this Baron dance, they only have another 50 seconds to really go for before setting up for another dragon setup. Jwei forced to flash. Kael pops the quickness. Jwei retreats for now. Soboro has Q3 at the ready, but does not find Flandre with the Natofo strike knockup. Anyone's Legend have full control of this top side blue quadrant jungle. They yoink the blue buff away. Good never move on the Shanks. He's interrupted on the Justice Punch. He's forced to go golden with his own year's hourglass. Here comes Tarzan over the top. Grand Star fall. Everyone is trying to pile through the front line, but they drop Jwei first. Heroic entrance by space. Tarzan still leading the charge for the Pandas. And it's over. Anyone's Legend wastes 3 in an instant. A triple kill for Tarzan. Hope picks up the 4th, and it's just Soboro left, but he cannot pull a Hail Mary as Tarzan and Shanks. The rest of the Pandas come right on through over the wall, and they're ready to push through the bottom to close this series.
Hope teleports to the bottom lane wave, and that right there was an excellent fight. Despite it being started on IG's terms, they don't even need the soul here. AL will team fight their way out of this game and put a deficit down onto IG, going up to 4-2 here in the regular season.
Another ace for Anyone's Legend, and that's all she wrote. At the end of the day, it is still the Pandas victorious over Invictus Gaming. GG, well played.
A slow-rolled game, something that IG have yet to really conquer as a strategy against them. They're a team that really tries to spike early on in the game. They try to make plays around their jungle, and the setup around some of these fights, they didn't use that lane lead. Also, the 80 carries, like Sivir didn't really get to have the fight that she wanted. I think that Rookie, again, invisible here on this Swain.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I felt underwhelmed by the Swain in this game. I was really hoping it was going to be a much more threatening force to deal with for Anyone's Legend, especially considering how little their damage profile was. But I think the few times that Anyone's Legend were able to force the Demonic Ascension out of Rookie, force him to flash, burn out the ultimate, There was just so many meticulous ways and really intelligent decision making coming out from AL as a whole. Just understanding what were the small win conditions, what were some of the micro things that IG were hoping to play for, and they just always played around it with the awareness and making sure that they weren't giving IG easy ways to execute their composition.
I think also Kael completely gapped Jwei in this series. Just very disgusting what he was doing to that kid. To be fair, Kael has very quickly risen to be the best support in the region. That is for a good reason. Kael has really proven himself. I think the confidence that Tarzan and Tabe gave him last year has worked wonders for this kid's confidence. And he has a very bright career here in the LPL. I'm going to be sad the day that he decides to go back home to Korea.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if, depending on which org from the LCK that is a top org, and if they struggle again going into Worlds, and they look at their bot lane change out, and they say,
Lehens is retiring after this year, so let's get some Nong Shim Kael with Scout and Kingin. And I'm sorry, I'm doing evil things right now. I'm sorry.
You are cooking something diabolical, and the camera has been denied from you by producer Ilya. Wow.
I could just turn my camera. I literally can reach over like 3 feet, and just I can. If anything, I can turn Mark's camera off here. He's not giving me the mic.
No. Hey, come on, relax. I've been a good boy. I've been trying to, be very clean today, and I haven't said anything insanely suspect.
Okay.
I've kept a very well-behaved overall cast so far. There's a couple
Your camera
times
got turned off earlier today, actually, already. Even if you didn't misbehave.
Listen, after the cast I had with Cubby and the jokes we made about Viego's wife, we were just like, oh, we might be on thin ice after this one. So,
I agree with that. I agree with that take. So, I think the night before, I think they saw Cubby and you were casting again, or I think they saw you and they're like, oh, so they didn't get in trouble for what they said? I was like, fair play. We do have to punish you guys. And the way we punish Cubby is by putting him on more OMG games. The way that we punish you is by putting you on the late shift. So
here we go. Speaking of late shift, hang on. Let me open my blinds real quick.
It's still dark outside for you.
I mean, it's still dark.
Oh.
It looks
they can't
dark.
see it in this camera pane. We'll get this in the full
okay,
cam when we go back to duels.
Damn.
But wrapping up this game, I think really impressive 2 things. Kael 100% KP. That makes sense. This was a very low kill game in general when we look at how the fights ended up kind of peeling out. I mean, you look at the high KPs across the board on both teams. Impressive. But I don't know, like, IG need a lot of help in both their drafts, I think, but also just their play. Their level of play is abysmally low for what we expected from this team coming off of Demacia Cup. We thought, okay, Renard was okay, Rookie will be better, and that, I think, hasn't really been given to me at all. And for all of Jwei's mistakes, I do think that he has to do a lot because his team is almost geriatric with what we
there's
get
no
from him.
engine without him driving it, and sometimes Jwei has to put himself into positions that look very, very questionable from our POV, but it's like, who else is going to do it? Because Soboro, your rookie top laner, is inexperienced and hasn't yet, found the confidence to be the one like leading the charge. Jwei is also trying to step up and be the leader, but his looks for the angles on the engages are not consistent, right? I think one of the things that we brought up, especially in our second episode of the podcast with Slayer, as much as I want to be on the Jwei hype train with Slayer, and I believe in this guy to be in that next class of great supports, it's like sometimes he finds the great angles and sometimes he sees a play to be made, but the rest of his team can't follow. So he ends up going down swinging.
This is great highlights. Again, not very many from this game in general. I just want to give I want to. Yeah, Kael is just way too clean, man. This kid is cracked. I'm glad that we have him. Again, I'm gonna be very sad if and when he leaves. But I don't know. Also, I will say the lane was a little suspect. I don't want to give him too much shade. But Flandre actually did play this Sehen decently. It was okay. I'm not like super impressed. This was the one fight that I thought was funny because Shanks went golden and Kael also put the Mikhails on him, so they just don't have it for this fight, and it does not matter. Which I think is hilarious to me.
Dude, Rookie got knocked up like 2-3 times back to back.
I mean, this champion was omega useless. The lane was okay, and he didn't even have like a massive lead. I think Rookie played some of the lane not perfectly, and yeah, that'll be a continuing conversation for IG as to whether or not we can get Rookie back in form, back to a level that I think is not only serviceable but exceptional.